Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for being here today. 3 weeks ago, this city suffered a sudden loss of our public defender when Jeff Adachi passed away. And last week, we gathered here to celebrate in City Hall. It was a moving experience and a great tribute to someone who inspired so many people and someone who I was very fortunate to call a friend. At the end of my remarks, I said that while we mourn him that day, that tomorrow we have to get back to work doing what he would have wanted us to do, fighting for a more just and equitable San Francisco. And that's why we're here today. The San Francisco Public Defender's Office is an incredible office whose mission it is to make every single person feel that they have a voice and that they're represented no matter who they are or where they come from. Their mission is critical to our city, and the Public Defender's Office fills this mission with passion and dedicated staff members who work every day for our city to make sure that those in need have the best representation possible. As someone who, growing up here, watched so many friends and family members rely on the Public Defender's Office, I take the responsibility of this, filling this position not just professionally, but personally as well. Because the lawyers heading to court today are working with people from communities that I grew up with, there were so many qualified candidates that were interested in leading this department, people who have done great work, people who have fought both as members of the Public Defender's Office and outside of it to protect some of our most vulnerable communities. Ultimately, though, my job is to make a choice. And today, I have chosen to appoint the person who I think will best carry the critical function of this office. That is why I'm proud to announce that I have chosen to appoint Manohar Raju as the next public defender of the City and County of San Francisco. Manohar has the experience, the commitment, and the vision to lead this office and fight for those who need a voice, both in the courtroom and in the community. And let's start with his experience. 18 years as a public defender, including 11 at the San Francisco Public Defender's Office. He manages the felony unit, and he has basically defended countless individuals during trial. He has been an advocate not only in the courtroom, but also making policy changes, fighting for more African American representation on juries, going to Sacramento to push for policy changes to make our courtrooms more equitable. Here in San Francisco and throughout our country, we know it is more important, now more than ever, to push for criminal justice reform to make sure that we truly create a more equitable and just society. And I know that Manohar is committed to continuing to push and advocate for these policy changes. He has demonstrated a commitment to the community because we know that disrupting the cycle of imprisonment and poverty starts long before any crime is committed. I look forward to partnering with Manohar on what I know are going to be some great policies that we are going to produce right here in San Francisco. And I know that we are never going to be able to replace Jeff Adachi, but we can build on his legacy, and I am confident that we have someone who is committed to doing just that. And ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the next public defender of the City and County of San Francisco, Manohar Raju.
Thank you so much, Mayor Breed. Jeff Adachi was a leader, a trailblazer, and a friend to me and many others. Our office is still in the process of deep mourning, and Matt Gonzalez and other leaders in our office have really done a commendable job in facilitating us through this process. One day after Jeff's passing, about 12 to 14 hours later, over 100 staff gathered almost spontaneously in our main conference room in the Public Defender's office. We shared hugs, we shed tears, and we told stories. And that was done for Jeff and his legacy. It was also done for each other, for all of us in the office. And it was done for the work, because we knew beyond all else, Jeff and the people in our office bring it with every fiber in our being for our clients, day in and day out. And that day spoke volumes about the character of our staff and why we do what we do, day in and day out. 4 days later, a community vigil happened in San Francisco, starting right outside of our offices. And thousands of San Franciscans gathered for that vigil, walked to City Hall in a spontaneous showing of love and solidarity with what we do. That speaks volumes about the community connections that our office has forged with Jeff's leadership. Being a public defender is a calling for me, and it's a calling rooted in the spirit and resiliency of our clients and their families. It's also rooted in the staff of our office. It's also rooted in the larger communities in this city. So thank you, Mayor. I'm honored to accept this appointment to carry forward the visionary advocacy of this office. And the mayor, when she was speaking at Jeff's service, she relayed a situation when she was younger, 15 years old, I believe, when she saw Jeff in the grandma of a neighbor of hers who was being represented by our office. And she talked about how Jeff was in that grandmother's home, really connecting with that family and really deeply understanding that family and the relationship to the client. And that encapsulates really what we should be about, a deeper connection, a deeper understanding of our clients, a deeper connection to the communities. I'm humbled to be able to work in such an incredible office where everyone lays it on the line for our clients day in and day out, with commitment, with skill, and with empathy. And we're very blessed that the appointment stayed in-house in our office. Because if you haven't been in our shoes, in the tanks of 850 Bryant, patiently explaining an offer to a client, if you haven't done an investigation in the wee hours of a morning to try to find a witness, or gone back to a house to knock on the door for the 9th time, if you haven't done the crucial paralegal, IT, or clerical work at almost breakneck speed, because that's when the attorney's requesting it from you, if you haven't stood alone in front of a jury trying to address issues of implicit bias, or tried to explain why your client who suffers from complex trauma and perhaps mental illness did what he did, if you haven't done that, then you can't have the deep understanding of what we do day in and day out. And that's why our office is so relieved that the mayor appointed someone in-house who understands our daily struggles, our daily trials, our daily efforts. Now, I'm different than Jeff, so there will be some changes in processes, there'll be some changes in substance, and I'll be reaching out to the rest of our wonderful staff and to Matt for input. But the core of what we do, the mission, that's not going anywhere. We are going to renew and recharge our commitment to excellence for our clients. We're going to continue broader reform efforts. We are going to continue to protect the public against overreaching government abuses. We are going to continue our struggle for racial justice in this city and statewide. And we're going to deepen our empowering engagement with the communities that we serve. Those are the core values of the San Francisco Public Defender's Office. Jeff embodied those values, and his fight will continue to live through us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to take this opportunity to recognize two trailblazers who are with us today. Our former public defender, Jeff Brown, is here. Thank you so much for joining us. As well as Peter King. Thank you so much for being here with us, Commissioner King. And thank you to all the members of the elected family who has joined us here today. We all know how difficult the past couple of weeks have been, not only for our city and the people who work with Jeff over the years, but also especially for the people who work directly with him at the Public Defender's Office. Matt Gonzalez has led this office, has worked with each and every one of us in City Hall during this very difficult transition. He's been a great leader, a great advocate for continuing the work of Jeff's legacy in the Public Defender's Office, and I wanted to provide him with an opportunity to say a few words about Manohar at this time.
I just want to say that, you know, I've never been concerned about this transition. Of course, losing Jeff was a big loss to our office. It's not one that we'll ever quite get over. But Mayor Breed has been a longtime friend, not just of Jeff Adachi personally, but also of our office. She understands the work that we do. She cares about the work that we do. And so I've always been certain that this would be a good transition. Manohar is just a fantastic choice, and I could not be happier with this decision. He has a keen intellect. He is an exceptional trial lawyer, and I can tell you I've seen a lot of trial lawyers. He may be the very best I've seen, and I really mean that. And he understands that the work of the public defender has to be rooted in the community. I've seen him prepare cases for trial and work in the community, and I know that he's going to do a terrific job carrying on Jeff's legacy. So, Mayor Breed, thank you very much, and I mean that genuinely. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you. And again, thank you, everyone, for being here. This concludes our press conference at this time, and we will take questions on the side. Thank you.